Hello, this is AstrologerCoach Sonja Francis, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming lunar eclipse, which is a very powerful full moon that will take place on October 8th at 6:50 a.m. East Coast time in the US, which is also New York time, or 3:50 a.m. West Coast time in the US, which is also LA time. Now, the sun opposes the moon in 15 degrees of Aries. And so this extra powerful full moon is sort of a very intense, it has a lot of intense energy coming in because it's also connected to the moon nodes, which represent our soul's journey. So eclipses are always connected to the moon nodes and are always connected to upgrading our consciousness and how we're doing on a soul level, where we need to be going next in terms of the next step of our own evolution from a soul's perspective. Now, last October, we had already a lunar eclipse in Aries. That was the first one in the series of the Aries Libra eclipses that we'll be experiencing until November 2015. This is the time when the moon nodes are moving through those two signs. And so each time there's an eclipse, they're connected to both of those signs. Now, the polarity between Libra and Aries is very much about becoming aware of the roles that we identify with in our various one-on-one relationships with other people. And there's really, with the lunar eclipse in Aries, there's really a call for us to take action and redefine those roles and really see where we're at with these roles. Now, a lunar eclipse in general is usually, because it's a more powerful full moon, it really brings our attention to our emotional body, and we become more aware of what's been suppressed and ignored. And of course, this lunar eclipse is a total lunar eclipse, which means that we're definitely more likely to be receiving life-changing revelations and definitely also very powerful shifts in consciousness. Now, the sun, the earth, and the moon are lined up in such a way that the sun cannot shine light onto the moon, and therefore the moon disappears, and so it will be completely black. And that's what a total lunar eclipse is, right? And so because of this alignment, the energies are very strong. And it forces us to sort of reboot. There's sort of like a sense of rebooting our system. I always try to compare it to like when you upgrade your software on your computer and you have to shut the computer down for a moment in order for it to reboot and come back on with the new software program. That's kind of how I relate it with the eclipses as well. We're sort of like, we're in a time right now, we're rebooting and we're upgrading to a new consciousness program within ourselves, right? Now, this particular eclipse focuses on independence because it's in Aries, right? So we do need to look, where do we need to be more assertive in our life, or where do we need to be more accommodating, depending on which side of the extreme we usually see ourselves at. Then we also need to look to see what roles or contracts need to be redefined or released right now at this time. So anything that's happening organically in that way, just allow it to occur, because it's really helping us to move to that next level in our evolution that our soul wants us to go. Now, we're also being invited to take a look at the balance between the feminine and the masculine energies within us, within our relationships, and also within the world around us. So I wanted to just define for a moment what masculine and feminine energies are, because I do feel that very often we confuse it with gender, of like the male and the female, but it has nothing to do with gender. Masculine and feminine energies is what we all carry those within ourselves. Whether we access all of them or not, that's another question, but we all have them. Now, if we look at the highest or healthiest expressions of the masculine and the feminine energies, you can see that masculine energies, for example, would be, active, linear, striving, protective in a way where we're aggressive or assertive towards, something that we need to protect against. A visionary is masculine, idealistic, self-generative, independent, focused, doing and thinking oriented is masculine. Now, the feminine energies include such things as allowing, receiving, being present in the moment, protective as well, but in a more loving and compassionate way. It's also practical, relationship oriented, empathetic, intuitive and feeling oriented. These are all feminine energies. So I want you to just check in now that you've heard all these different energies. What do you notice? Where in your life is the balance not present? Where in your life do you not have a balance between masculine and feminine? And, you may have different areas in your life that have different balances, an area where you're more masculine or more feminine, right? So what happens when there's too much masculine or too much feminine energy in that area of your life? What happens to you, right? And so what we also want to look at with this full moon is that, usually a full moon, it's just that sun-moon opposition. But of course, because it's an eclipse, the moon nodes are included, like I mentioned earlier already. But this particular eclipse also has other planets involved as well. So let's start with the sun. So the sun has a connection to the north node in Libra, but also is conjunct with Venus. Venus is also in Libra at the time of the eclipse. Now, this is very powerful. It's in its own sign. So this Sun-Venus north node conjunction is a call for loving, equal, mutually beneficial relationships or partnerships. We're really wanting to move towards more collaboration, win-win, just like we talked about a little bit also in the new moon video already 2 weeks ago, right? Now, on the other hand, the moon in Aries connects to the south node and to Uranus. So this conjunction between moon, Uranus, and south node asks us to be brave, asks us to be willing to take risks and explore new alternatives. Look at things in a new way, like just see like where have we outgrown certain old ways of being and where can we approach things in a new completely different way. Almost like, like a new future for ourselves, right? Now Mars, which is the ruler of Aries, is right now in Sagittarius and is making a close trine with Jupiter in Leo and that Moon-Uranus South Node conjunction in Aries. So there's this Grand Trine between Mars, Jupiter, and the Moon-Uranus South Node conjunction. And so this Grand Trine is usually a very supportive aspect. There's a flow that gets created between all those signs. They're all in fire signs. And so fire signs bring us a lot of energy. There's a lot of core energy, a lot of physical energy. There's a lot of enthusiasm that we get from fire signs, right? And so with these planets all being aligned with each other, it's really supporting us to access our own inner courage more readily. We're able to be more creative here. And it also inspires us to break free from the conventional, outdated belief systems that we have, in our lives. And it also supports us to very much connect to the masculine energy in a healthier way, to connect to it in a higher vibration. And so instead of domineering and destructing, which can be part of the masculine energy as well, we're being more assertive and focused, and we're bringing more of all the positive aspects that I mentioned earlier about the masculine into the world, right? Now with Venus in Libra, which is in its own sign, which I already mentioned, right? Venus is making a close square to Pluto in Capricorn, which is part of a T-square with Uranus. So there is Uranus, Pluto, and Venus, and that is really a call for our inner feminine to ask to reclaim our own power, to move more towards connection, nurturance, inclusivity. We're being asked to move up again, to take a chance, to take the challenge to be more authentic in the world, to connect on a deeper level with other people, to have more meaningful relationships, relationships where we have more quality rather than quantity, right? Where we're coming from a heart-centered place, where we're able to create these places of collaboration and win-win with other people, and where we're really shifting, from the love of power to the power of love. And really take responsibility for who we are out there in the world and what we're building and what we're creating and how we're using our power. It's very important with that Pluto placement. That's the focus. And so in order for us to really be able to do that, to really master fully connect to our inner power and how we use that within our relationships and with other people and out in the world, we need to nurture ourselves. We need to make sure that we know what our intentions are. We need to make sure that we take care of ourselves first and foremost before we go out there in the world and spend all of our energy on other people or things outside of ourselves, right? So the inner nurturance is very important. The physical, the mental, the emotional. If we can do that, our relationships are going to be better, and we're going to be empowering ourselves and other people, and we're going to be able to use power in a very positive, higher vibrational way in the outside world. So as best as you can, keep your attention on heart-centered energy, improve the quality of your relationships, learn to connect on a deeper level, and really appreciate the power of the feminine, and the importance of being in partnership with all of life, with the earth, with everybody, right? Because in the end, we're all interconnected, and if we're not able to appreciate this power that we have through that interconnectedness, this is really what makes our life better, and it makes us happy. When we're separate and when we're disconnected from these relationships and from the relationships with life and with the earth and with other people, that's when we feel unhappy, and that's when we go into a lower vibrational place, and that's when we abuse power, and when we really don't use power in a loving way, but in a fearful way. Now, again, let me just summarize a little bit the message of the lunar eclipse. So I believe it's definitely about inner balance, right? Between the feminine and the masculine energies within us. And so the more balanced we can be, the more peace and balance we can experience in the world. Within us, the more we can also experience that in the world, of course. Because I believe that the inner always reflects the outer. So it's almost like a mirror effect, right? I believe that anything that you see in the outside world is really a mirror for you to understand what's going on inside of you and how you become more aware of how you're treating yourself or what you're doing to yourself. So this is something to think about, to see like how does your outside world really reflect who you are with yourself, right? Now, like I mentioned in the new moon video 2 weeks ago already, eclipses are very create uncertainty, so they're sort of like Uranian in nature. So anything can really happen between now and November 6th when eclipse season is over. But as best as you can, I want you to know that anything that happens organically during that time, it's meant to happen. So any major endings or any major new beginnings, trust that whatever is leaving or falling apart right now is making way for something better in your life, because you're moving towards a new level of your own evolution. That's what the soul wants for us right now, right? So the more open you can be to all of that occurring, to the change that's occurring in your life right now, the easier it will be to get to that next level. And now, as best as you can, don't jump the gun on anything. If you feel compelled to do things, do your best to watch and observe unless it happens organically, like I said before, right? But if it doesn't happen organically, if you're just feeling this urge to do something out of anxiety or fear, because there's this restlessness inside of you right now, wait, take a deep breath, relax as best as you can, get grounded, do some yoga, do some breathing exercises, do some meditation, whatever helps you to do that, right? Whatever it takes. And just know that by the end of the eclipse season, you can move forward much faster, and probably also with a lot more knowledge that you need in order to move forward. So we don't have all the information that we need yet in order to really do the things that we need to do. Unless, again, it happens organically. Then that's a different story, okay? Now, the last time we had a lunar eclipse in 15 degrees of Aries was in October of 1995, October 8th, 1995 to be exact, which is exactly 19 years ago, right? So think back to that time, if you can remember, or if you were already old enough to remember, think back to that time to see what the energies felt like for you back then, especially for those of us who have personal planets and points in 13 to 17 degrees of Aries, Libra, Capricorn, or Cancer. Now, personal planets and points are the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, then the Ascendant, and the career point. And if you're not clear on what any of these are, then please feel free to watch my video on how to read a birth chart. You can find that on YouTube and on my website, okay? Now, you're not going to experience, of course, exactly the same thing that you experienced 19 years ago. If you think back and there was something horrific that happened at that time, just remember, this doesn't mean that the same thing will happen again, because obviously you're 19 years older, so you are a different person now. You have a different consciousness level, so something else will happen. But energetically speaking, there will be a resonance back to what happened 19 years ago. So you will feel that resonance, okay? So it will not be the same, it will be different, but there will be a similarity in energy, okay? Now, I have two very important announcements to make, so please hang in there with me just for another couple of minutes. One is that my Soul Journey weekend is filling up. So if you've been thinking about coming to join us in November, an hour outside of Boston, please go to my website, go to the weekend courses page and reserve yourself a seat. Right now, I do have payment plans available that are good until October 8th. So if you're watching this video before the eclipse, definitely take advantage of those payment plans. If you're watching it after October 8th, feel free to email me at info@astrologercoach.com and I will see what I can do for you. If it's still possible to fit you in, I will. If not, then we'll figure out a way. Anyways, just talk to me or my assistant and we'll see what we can arrange for you, okay? The second announcement is that I've been talking about my website launch for the past 3 weeks, and unfortunately I'm not ready to launch it quite yet. Because I got some new information that I received about a week ago about the type of website that I need or that I want. And so I'm choosing to actually create a whole new platform that will be much more amazing than what I've already built. And so the good news is that my new fees will not change. They will not be in effect until that new website will go up. So you can definitely still take advantage of the now fees that are now on the website until my website is ready to go up. So definitely take advantage of that. Hopefully by the end of the eclipses, the new website will be able to launch, but I will definitely make an announcement about that as well. Okay, so have a fabulous consciousness upgrade. Thanks for hanging in there. And I will be back in another 2 weeks talking about the upcoming solar eclipse in 0 degrees of Scorpio. So come back for that in about 2 weeks. This is Astrologer Coach Sonja Francis. Have a fantastic upgrade. Bye-bye.